What if everything you know about Earth is wrong? What if the ground beneath your feet isn't part of a giant sphere floating in space, but instead a flat surface stretching endlessly in all directions? Or even stranger, what if our planet was shaped like a massive mushroom with a wide cap above and a narrow stem below? It sounds impossible, maybe even ridiculous, but today we're not just imagining these ideas, we're testing them using real science. Let's begin with the flat Earth. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that the Earth is completely flat. No curvature, no round horizon, just a massive disk. At first, nothing seems different. Cities are still there, oceans still exist, and life continues as normal. But very quickly, reality begins to fall apart. The first and biggest problem is gravity. On a spherical Earth, gravity pulls everything toward the center equally. That's why no matter where you are, down always feels the same. But on a flat Earth, gravity wouldn't behave like that. Instead of pulling straight down, it would pull everything toward the center of the disk. So if you were standing far from the center, you wouldn't feel pulled downward, you'd feel pulled sideways. Walking would feel like climbing all the time. Standing still wouldn't feel natural, and buildings would need to be tilted just to stay stable. Now think about water. Oceans don't just sit randomly, they follow gravity. On a flat Earth, all the water would slowly move toward the center, forming one massive ocean and leaving the edges dry and empty. Entire continents would either flood or become deserts. Then there's the sun. Every day we see it rise, move across the sky, and disappear below the horizon. This happens because the Earth rotates. But on a flat surface, where would the sun go? It wouldn't actually set. It would just move farther away, getting smaller and dimmer, but never truly disappearing. Yet in reality, the sun clearly drops below the horizon. This only makes sense if the surface is curved. Now consider time zones. Right now, in one part of the world, it's morning, and in another, it's night. This system works perfectly on a rotating sphere. But on a flat Earth, explaining this without contradictions becomes nearly impossible. Even airplanes reveal the truth. Flights don't travel in straight lines on a map. They follow curved paths, known as the shortest routes on a sphere. Pilots and navigation systems rely on this every single day. If the Earth were flat, these routes wouldn't make sense at all. So if the Earth isn't flat, what if it was something even stranger? What if it was shaped like a giant mushroom floating in space? A wide cap above and a narrow stem below. It sounds creative, but the physics become even more chaotic. Gravity would no longer be stable. At the top of the mushroom, it might pull you downward, but near the edges, it could pull you sideways or even off the surface completely. On the stem, gravity might shift direction depending on where you stand. Walking from one place to another could feel like entering a completely different world, where the rules of physics keep changing. Now think about the atmosphere. The air around us stays in place because of gravity and Earth's shape. A spherical planet holds its atmosphere evenly, but a mushroom-shaped world wouldn't. Air would leak into space from weaker regions of gravity. Some areas would have almost no oxygen, while others might have extreme pressure that makes survival impossible. Water would behave even worse. Instead of stable oceans, it would constantly flow toward the strongest gravitational points. Massive floods would form in some regions, while others would dry out completely. Weather would become extreme and unpredictable. Some places might freeze instantly, while others would become unbearably hot. In such a world, life as we know it simply couldn't exist. So after all this imagination, we're left with one question. What does real science say?